I just felt like the location was so beautiful. It was so well produced, I felt. And we get to follow her along on her journey, and in some ways, just kind of aesthetically, it reminded me of Phantom of the Opera, just in terms of like you have like a young, beautiful girl with this beautiful voice, and she's in a theater, and I feel like the music really created this um, tension and discord, and like there was kind of something wrong, and so this kind of um, feeling of like something is off, that little feeling in the pit of your stomach, I feel like was reminiscent to me of Phantom of the Opera, and this now being this operatic um, performer.
This short was really intense, and in the beginning, watching our main actor look at the version of herself dressed up and longing for the audience, and laughing as she's in that dressed up costumed form, for me was really very intense, and it almost felt like this short was about the grueling process it takes to extract a smile or get acceptance from an audience. And I even felt this way a bit when the actor looked outside as she saw her potential lover laughing with someone else. All of this, like, as she's preparing the song for the smile, for me, just felt really intense and emotional.
Well, this opera singer had such a strong presence on camera. She was very engaging. Good introduction, compelling images of the singer and the theater, the gorgeous theater. Her vocalization is fabulous. She's confronted with another singer who laughs at her on the stage, and she seems perplexed. There's a voiceover of a poem about life and death, and we see that she finds a male singer, but he shuts the door to her. Very interesting. I loved the setting of the theater and going into the back of the house and in the theater lounges. It was just so beautiful.
Love and relationships and the comings and goings of said relationships. We find our lead character is having flashbacks to these moments in time with what could have been someone that she had worked with, and we kind of see this moment of downfall or of rejection, heartbreak, what could have been, what had been possibly lost, as we see the infamous smile come into play here. You kind of see her get distracted and lost in this moment and find herself smiling, which makes an interesting last act within this piece where she's sort of reflecting this moment in time. And what stands out is that she's in a yellow dress, and that's such a symbol for this moment in time for her. It dives within the color theory of film, this dives into wisdom, insecurity, obsession.
Abstract, dialogue-free story. Everything's sung in the, things are sung in the manner of a performance in a theater mostly. But yeah, it's really interesting. You kind of get a sense of her journey, on the stage and dealing with people and things in her life. And then I really like the ending. There's a long passage of silence where she's drawing the chalk line and she lays in the middle of the circle, and it's kind of an imitation of the Vitruvian Man, only we're getting much better, the Vitruvian Woman this time. And yeah, there's a triumph at the end, and especially the orchestration at the end, the sort of just the dissonance of it. It reminds me of Berg or something, for a lot of people who know movies more than music, think of the soundtrack to 2001 when they're landing on the moon, that section. But it kind of reminded me of that a bit, which is a good thing because it's amazing. So yeah, the music is beautiful throughout, and the singing is astounding. The talent here it's great. It's amazing that the music is wonderfully composed, wonderfully performed, wonderfully played, produced, sang.
One of my favorite things about films like this are the fact that they kind of give the sensation that you're watching a stage play with a cinematic value added to it. And I always find that neat because, it's always fun watching a play, but with a play, it's always very static. You're only watching from one angle. So when you start adding those different angles and giving that kind of movie feel to it, it's a very interesting feeling that I'm not quite sure how to explain, but it's like you're getting the best of both worlds. Speaking of, I also very much enjoyed the music in this one. I enjoyed a lot of the opera orchestral feel that a lot of the music had.
Cinematography that the filmmakers did with it was absolutely great. What they were doing with their lighting and how they were getting creative with the camera angles, I thought was really, really cool. Her voice was amazing. And the other voices that were a part of this, I thought it was really cool. Musically, I liked what they did with the dissonance to give you that feeling of where it was like a little bit on edge, how the music very much so impacted what was going on screen.
The editing really did justice to the music. I think this was a really great way to enjoy a live performed music singing show, but in a film way. It really held my interest and it communicated the story and the character's emotion in a really compelling way.
I did like how this whole documentary used opera to communicate, though. It was one that it didn't really deviate and actually have people physically talking. It was just rehearsing an operatic piece and going from scene to scene where everything was done through opera. This made it a very experimental and unique film to show. It definitely has a niche audience for it. People who love opera would probably love this film. They have it where it goes up and down. You can tell where she's struggling some and then really succeeding. They also had amazing juxtaposition as she was really nailing the music, where she showed up in like 5 different parts of the scene. It alluded to this at the beginning, but then at the end where it used that juxtaposition and editing to really show it, made you root for her. Because even from the beginning, you're rooting for her to succeed, even if you weren't really a fan of that type of music, you were still rooting for her, which makes it a great film